You are going to work approximately 90,000 hours before you die. 90,000 hours. That's almost every waking moment of your adult life, traded for a paycheck. And after all of that, most people will reach the end with nothing to show for it. No freedom, no wealth. Just the quiet, devastating realization that they worked their entire lives for someone else's dream. Here is the brutal truth that no one tells you. Hard work does not make you rich. It never has. Doctors work hard. Teachers work hard. The woman pulling a double shift at the hospital at 3 a.m. is working harder than almost anyone alive. And she is one missed paycheck away from disaster. So if hard work isn't the answer, what is? Over 100 years ago, a man named George S. Clason sat down and encoded the complete blueprint for building wealth into a series of ancient parables set in the city of Babylon, the wealthiest civilization the ancient world had ever seen. A city of gold dust in the air and rivers of money flowing through every street. And the principles he captured in those pages? They are still the most powerful wealth-building framework ever written. Today we are breaking it all down. 7 ancient laws, modern-day translations, real actionable steps that you can implement this week. And I promise you this, by the time this video ends, you will understand money in a way that most people never will. Not because you're smarter than them, but because you finally had access to the right map. Stay with me, because the very first law is the one that will change your financial life forever. And it is almost certainly the one you've been violating your entire life. Picture this. Ancient Babylon, 8,000 years ago. A city so advanced, so impossibly wealthy, that historians still struggle to explain how it got there. They had running water. A trading economy so sophisticated, it would make Wall Street blush. And in the heart of this city lived a man named Arcad. Arcad was the richest man in Babylon. Not just comfortable, not just well off, the richest man in the entire city. And here is what made his story remarkable. He didn't inherit it. He didn't get lucky. He didn't stumble into a crypto coin at the right moment. He started from nothing, an ordinary scribe, carving words into clay tablets for a living. His childhood friends watched him rise and couldn't understand it. They worked just as hard. They were just as smart. So one day they went to him and asked, "Arcad, how?" And what he told them, what he taught them, is exactly what we're going to unpack right now. 7 laws, timeless, simple, and devastatingly effective. Let's start with law number 1, and I want you to pay very close attention, because this single idea has the power to completely rewrite your financial future. Law 1. Pay yourself first. A part of all you earn is yours to keep. Read that again, slowly. A part of all you earn is yours to keep. Sounds obvious, right? But here's the uncomfortable question. When your paycheck hits your account this month, what happens to it? You pay rent, you pay utilities, you pay the phone bill, the subscription services, the car payment, the groceries. You maybe treat yourself to something. And then, if anything is left over, you tell yourself you'll save that. But here's the savage truth. There is never anything left over. Expenses are like water. They expand to fill whatever container you give them. Give them your whole paycheck, and they will take it. Every single time. Arcad's first lesson was shockingly simple. Before you pay anyone else, before the landlord, before the electric company, before your favorite restaurant, you pay yourself. A minimum of 10% of everything you earn. Off the top. Non-negotiable. Untouchable. In today's money, that looks like this. You earn $4,000 a month. $400 goes immediately into a separate account, before you see it, before you touch it, before you even think about it. The rest? Live on it. Adjust. Figure it out. But I can't afford to save 10%, you might say. And here is Arcad's answer, spoken across 4,000 years of time. You cannot afford not to. Every dollar you save today is a tiny worker you're hiring. That worker never sleeps, never calls in sick, never asks for a raise. It just works, quietly compounding in the background, building an army of money that will one day set you free. The most important financial habit you will ever build costs you 10% of your income. Start this month. But saving money is only half the battle, because money sitting still is money slowly dying, which brings us to law number 2, and this is where things get really interesting. Law 2. Control your expenditures. Here is a trap that destroys more wealth potential than almost anything else. Lifestyle inflation. You get a raise, so you get a nicer apartment. You get a bonus, so you get a newer car. Your income goes up, your expenses go up, and your savings stay exactly the same. Welcome to the modern treadmill. You're running faster and getting absolutely nowhere. The people of Babylon had a word for this trap. Arcad called it confusing necessary expenses with desires. Necessities are what you need to survive and function. Desires are what you've convinced yourself you need, but don't. And here is the chilling part. Our desires are almost infinite. There will always be a better phone, a nicer vacation, a more impressive car. If you let your desires set your budget, they will consume everything you ever earn. The cure is ruthless simplicity. Budget with intention, not emotion. Track where every dollar goes, not to make yourself miserable, but to gain power. Because you cannot control what you cannot see. Most people have no idea where their money actually goes. They have a vague sense of expenses and a specific, painful awareness of their bank balance at the end of the month. Write it down, categorize it, look at it. Then ask yourself honestly, which of these expenses is building my future, and which is just feeding my present? Needs first, savings second, then, and only then, desires, in that exact order. Now, you've saved money, you've controlled your spending. The next question is the most critical one of all. What do you do with what you've saved? Because Arcad's next law is the one that separates the merely comfortable from the genuinely wealthy. And it involves a mistake that almost everyone makes. Law 3. Make your gold multiply. Dead money is dying money. Savings sitting in a checking account, untouched, are losing value every single year to inflation. $1 today is worth less than $1 5 years ago. Money that doesn't work shrinks. Arcad understood this instinctively. He didn't just save gold. He put his gold to work. He invested it in businesses, in land, in ventures that generated returns. And those returns, he reinvested. And those reinvestments generated more returns. On and on, in an ever-growing spiral of compounding wealth. Today, we have more tools for this than Arcad ever dreamed of. Index funds that track the entire market. Real estate that appreciates and generates cash flow. Businesses built for a few $100s online that scale to millions. The options are almost overwhelming. But the principle is the same. Find vehicles where your money can grow. Start small if you have to. The amount matters far less than the habit. Because here is what compound interest actually looks like in practice. If you invest just $300 a month starting at age 25, and earn an average 10% annual return, a historical average for broad market index funds, by age 65, you will have over $1.8 million. Not from being a genius, not from taking wild risks, just from being consistent, starting early, and letting time do the heavy lifting. Einstein allegedly called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. Whether he said it or not, it's true. Make your money work while you sleep. But there is a dark side to this law, a warning buried in the Babylonian stories that is more relevant today than it has ever been. The fourth law, and it's one that can save you from financial devastation. Law 4. Guard your treasures from loss. The first goal of investing is not to win. It is to not lose. Say it again. Let it sink in. Arcad told a painful story about a bricklayer who saved his gold carefully, only to hand it to a jeweler to invest in rare gemstones overseas. The jeweler knew nothing about gemstones. The investment was a disaster. The bricklayer lost everything. His crime? He took advice from the wrong person. In today's world, this happens constantly. Someone posts a stock tip on Reddit, and suddenly everyone's retirement savings are riding on a company none of them have researched. A guaranteed crypto opportunity appears in a DM, and thousands of people pour their savings into it. A can't-miss business deal arrives through a friend of a friend and evaporates along with the investment. Arcad's law is clear. Only invest in areas where the advisor has demonstrated expertise. Take investment advice from people who have already built the wealth you want to build, not from people who are merely enthusiastic about a shortcut. Diversify. Never put everything into one place. If one investment fails, it should be a setback, not a catastrophe. And before you invest in anything, ask yourself, do I understand this well enough to explain it simply to someone else? If the answer is no, do not invest yet. Learn first. Protect what you build, because wealth destroyed is always harder to rebuild than it was to create the first time. Which leads us directly to Law 5. And this one is about your most overlooked asset, one that depreciates every single year you ignore it. Law 5. Make your home a profitable investment. In Babylon, renters were considered financially stagnant, and not because renting is inherently wrong, but because they were handing money to someone else month after month with no return. Now, the rent versus buy debate in modern real estate is genuinely complex. Home ownership isn't right for everyone. Markets differ, circumstances differ. But Arcad's deeper principle holds regardless. Wherever you live, make it work for you. Own property and build equity over time? Great. Rent a room in your home to offset your mortgage? Excellent. Live somewhere affordable so you can invest the difference aggressively? Brilliant. The goal is to ensure that your housing situation is not simply a cost, but a strategic financial decision. Think of it this way. The average American pays over $1 million in rent over their lifetime. $1 million. Gone. What if even a fraction of that was redirected toward equity, or invested systematically? The numbers become staggering very quickly. Your home should not be your financial weakness. It should be part of your foundation. Now, speaking of foundation, the sixth law addresses something even more fundamental. Something that most finance bros on the internet completely ignore. But Arcad considered it one of the most important wealth principles of all. Law 6. Ensure a future income. Wealth is not just about what you build, it's about what you protect. Arcad had a deep concern for the future, not just his own, but his family's. He insisted on creating systems that would provide for his wife and children, even if something happened to him. He built, as he called it, protection against the uncertainties of life. In today's language, emergency funds, life insurance, disability coverage, retirement accounts. We live in an era where a single medical bill can erase years of savings, where a job loss without a cushion becomes a financial freefall, where people reach their 60s with no retirement savings and no plan. These aren't tragedies that happen to irresponsible people. They happen to people who simply never built protection. The emergency fund is non-negotiable. 3 to 6 months of living expenses. Liquid, accessible, boring, powerful. After that, think about the long game. Retirement accounts that grow tax-advantaged. Insurance that protects your family if the unthinkable happens. The mundane, unsexy infrastructure of real financial security. Arcad's wealth wasn't just about accumulation. It was about durability. He built a financial life that could withstand storms. Build yours the same way. And now the seventh law. The one that is perhaps most counterintuitive. The one that modern society has almost entirely forgotten. The one that Arcad believed was the ultimate differentiator between those who succeed and those who stay stuck. Law 7. Increase your ability to earn. The most powerful financial asset you own is not in a bank account. It is inside your skull. your skills, your knowledge, your capacity to create value in the world. This is the engine that drives everything else. Arcad told the story of a young man who complained that he could never get ahead because his wages were too low. And Arcad's response was devastating in its simplicity. Then become the kind of person who is worth more. In ancient Babylon, the craftsmen who commanded the highest wages were not the ones who worked the hardest. They were the ones who had invested the most in their craft. They had studied, apprenticed, refined their skills over years, and the market rewarded them lavishly for it. Today, the same law applies with brutal precision. The market doesn't pay you based on your effort or your intentions. It pays you based on the value you deliver. And the gap between what most people earn and what they could earn is almost entirely a skills gap. Spend time every single week sharpening your axe. Read books on your craft. Take courses. Find mentors. Practice deliberately. Learn the skills that the market desperately needs and pays generously for. And here's the layered genius of this law. As your income increases from a higher skill set and you're already applying Law 1, your savings increase automatically. More savings means more to invest. More invested means compound interest works harder. Every law connects to every other law. It is a system. And systems, once in motion, build unstoppable momentum. Let's lock this in. 7 laws from the richest city in the ancient world. And every single one of them still works. Today, right now, in whatever economy you're living in. Law 1. Pay yourself first. 10%. Every paycheck. Before everything else. Law 2. Control your expenditures. Budget with intention. Kill lifestyle inflation before it kills your future. Law 3. Make your money multiply. Invest it. Let compound interest build an army of wealth on your behalf. Law 4. Guard against loss. Take risks only with knowledge. Protect what you build with fierce discipline. Law 5. Make your home work for you. Your housing is a financial decision. Make it a smart one. Law 6. Ensure your future. Build protection. Emergency funds. Retirement accounts. Defensive infrastructure. Law 7. Increase your ability to earn. Invest in yourself relentlessly. You are your most valuable asset. Now here is the most important question I can leave you with. Why don't more people follow these laws? Not because they're complicated. Not because they're secret. They're in a book that's been available for 100 years. The reason is this. These laws require patience in a world built on instant gratification. They require discipline in a culture that sells comfort. They require playing a long game when everyone around you is chasing quick wins. Arcad wasn't lucky. He wasn't born into wealth. He made a decision, a quiet, powerful, irreversible decision, to take control of his financial life. And then he followed a system, consistently, for years. That's it. That's the whole secret. The 100-year-old blueprint isn't complicated. It's just uncomfortable. And the people who sit with that discomfort long enough, they become Arcad. But inevitably, the question is whether you're willing to start. Today. Not next month. Not when the timing is perfect. Today. Because the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now.